Hi guys, it's Amy and my channel is Strength Reversed. Thank you so much for watching. Today's the first video that I'm making that's not about the 31 Days of Tarot Challenge, which is why I started my channel, and I thought I'll decide later if I want to continue posting. So after I've developed a very rudimentary knowledge of YouTube and barely any knowledge of video editing, here I am, and I'm going to try to post once a week, hopefully on Sundays. Today's topic is something I've been wanting to share, and that is the best advice I ever got as a beginning tarot reader. I was a beginner back, I guess, in 1999, according to my notes, and I took a tarot class, and I'm going to talk more about that next week. I'm going to do a book review that will really help you through this process. But the best piece of advice that I ever got was put the tarot books away for 1 year. Yes, I know I just said I'm going to give you a tarot book, but it's not one of those books that has a glossary of meanings in it. And that's what I'm talking about. Put the tarot books away for 1 year. If you think 1 year seems like way too long, try it for a month and then reevaluate. And I bet you will want to keep doing this. The reason why I would say to do this, and this is not the only way to learn tarot, it's not the right way to learn tarot, so if it doesn't make sense to you, then that's totally fine. The most important thing, I think, when you become a tarot reader and you're learning to use your intuition to read these cards, is to be able to trust your impressions of the card. And that trust comes when you have built a relationship with these cards. And when you look in a book, I see a lot of beginning tarot readers flip a card, immediately look in the book. Flip a card, look in the book. And that's totally valid. That's a stage everyone's been through. It doesn't matter how long you've been reading, you do that. You know, I do that. I flip a card, I'm stumped, I go to the book. But when you haven't even begun to engage in the cards, then what you're doing is something very rational, and you're not, you're bypassing the higher self when you do that. And that's really what reading tarot is. It's a conversation with your higher self. You're not going to find out anything you don't really already know. You're having a conversation with your divine self. It's divination. And when you consult the book, sometimes I think that gets bypassed because you're looking at this book to be the authority on what the correct meaning of this card is, when really what would be much more interesting is what you see in this card. Because what you see in a tarot card is going to change every single time that card comes up. Your attention will be captured by this figure or this animal, and then the next time it will be the tree or the pentacle or the cup. It just changes every time. And I'm not saying that knowing the traditional meanings of the cards is not useful. I think it's an essential piece in your foundation. It's a building block in your foundation. And I think getting the perspectives of other readers through what they've written about each card is just as essential. But it is much more meaningful, and it's a much richer reading, whether you're reading professionally or not, whether you're reading for other people or you just want to read for yourself. It's such a fuller experience when you have your foundation based on the relationship that you have with that card. It's much more meaningful. So simple ways you could do this, and these are things that I still do and I've done for years, and that is to pull a card of the day. That's one. Some people don't like this because they think, well, what if I pull the Tower? It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. But in day 30 of the challenge, we talked about predictive readings, and I said how it's all about the question, and that pertains to this too. You have to really set your intention intentionally. Your phrasing is key. So what I say instead of what's going to happen today is, what do I need to remember today? And that's a different feeling when I pull the Tower. It's not predicting that something bad's going to happen or something unexpected. It's just kind of reminding me of that energy, that when things don't go the way I want them to go, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It might feel uncomfortable, but it's the structure changing. It's not me. And, you know, I'm going to survive this. So there's a little different feeling there. If it really bothers you, then pull your card at the end of the day, and then you can use it as more of a reflection. My second suggestion to help you get to know the cards without a book is to write it down. And I would do that with stream of consciousness. And that means you take your pen, you start writing. You're not allowed to pick up your pen. Whatever comes into your mind, you put on paper. So if what comes into your mind is, I have no idea what this card means. I wish I could remember what was in that book. I don't really know what to write. I have to get bread at the store. Then that's what you're writing down. And eventually you can start describing the card. What do you see? What do you hear in the card? What captures your attention? What do you think that animal means? Are the colors speaking to you? Is it relating to anything that happened in your day? Are some feelings coming up for you? Is a memory coming up for you? Does it remind you of a person? And on and on and on. And when you do that, you really have to kind of stop thinking about it and just start writing it. And the more you do that, I think you'll find the easier that becomes. And that will translate into flipping over a card and just, blah, you know, just saying it. Another suggestion would be to have your own glossary. So when we've all have a million of those books where the bulk of the book is like the meaning of all the cards. You're going to start one just for you. And I would take a page or two for each card. So just go through and title them and date your entries. And this would not be anything that I write, notes that I take. This is just the understanding of the card as I come to that understanding. When I have this aha moment, like, oh yeah, that's a cool meaning, or oh, this is what happened to me today, and I got this meaning from the card out of that, I would write it down and date it. And this, when you go back and look at it, is going to be just phenomenal. It's really, really interesting, and it's this is like near and dear to me. So this is going to be like your main go-to book. I didn't make that video, but this is my go-to book more than any other book. So after you've been doing this for a year or a month or however long you choose, then by all means read up as much as you can on the traditional meanings of the cards and get perspectives from as many other readers as you can about their take on the cards, because that is just as important too. Next week, I'm going to do a book review, and this book has loads of exercises. I'm about to start this book again, and the first time I went through this book, a lot of resistance came up. So some of the exercises I found challenging. It's challenging to be honest with yourself. But just try it and let me know if you guys plan to do this, or if you would never do this, or if you did do this. Just let me know. Thanks, guys.